everyone kind of gathers, and the credits play out over that. I like it. Like I said, I know it's corny. It might not be for everyone, but that's always been one of my favorite endings in the movie. And not in that movie specifically, but for that type of film.
Mm-hmm.
And then even Murray doing a little bit of ad-lib while everyone's singing, just speaking to the audience in the theater, trying to get them to participate.
How old were you when this came out? Did you see it?
8 years old. I don't think I saw it in the theater, but I mean on HBO, on video and everything. I had it on a VHS dub for a long time. I think my sister got it for me for Christmas on Blu-ray 12 years ago or whenever that was, because she knew I liked it so much. Or she said I didn't have any Christmas movies, and she knew that I really loved that one, so she bought it for me for Christmas. Even though I already had Die Hard and Batman Returns, at least. For all the trouble, not necessarily trouble, but for all the conflict between Bill Murray and Richard Donner, I know that Murray didn't really have a good time working on the film, but he seems to have had a great time playing Frank Cross.
Mm-hmm.
He seems to have had a lot of fun playing this kind of evil character. What did he say? He said he liked playing the meanest character in the world, who gets a second chance and is able to transform into a decent person. So I think he enjoyed that part of it. It just was the push and pull with Donner. But the film is stacked with a lot of cameos. If you know who a lot of those people are. I mean, Mary Lou Retton plays Tiny Tim in the Scrooge TV show.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned John Houseman. Miles Davis, Paul Schaefer, Sanborn, who I just mentioned, they all cameos the musicians playing outside when Frank is walking with his brother. As he's on his way to whatever the banquet was where he was being honored.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of pushes his way through this group of musicians, and the guy playing the trumpet is Miles Davis, and Sanborn's on the sax. Who else? Lee Majors, Robert Goulet, we mentioned. Buddy Hackett is Ebenezer Scrooge, and then Jamie Farr, I think, is Jacob Marley in the miniseries. Jamie Farr off of MASH. So lots of cameos. Even Richard Donner, if I'm not mistaken, cameos. He's one of the guys in the control room. And then, if you've seen a lot of Richard Donner films, he uses a lot of the same bit actors and stuff. I had no idea. I've seen this guy in all kinds of Richard Donner films. I had no idea this guy was his cousin. But Steve Kahan, who plays the captain in the Lethal Weapon movies, pretty much cameos in every single Richard Donner film. I had no idea that was his cousin. But I know that he's in Superman. He's like a police officer in Superman. Obviously, I mentioned Lethal Weapon. I remember him in Assassins. He gets killed by, I think Stallone is going to kill him. And then I think Stallone gets bested by Antonio Banderas. I think Antonio Banderas actually kills him. He's in that. Mary Ellen Trainor, I believe it was. She's deceased now, unfortunately. I believe she was Robert Zemeckis' wife. She's the police psychologist in the Lethal Weapon films.
Mm-hmm.
She's in it. She's one of the executives in this. She's also the mother to Josh Brolin and Sean Astin in The Goonies. Jack McGee, who's one of the set guys, one of the carpenters on set, or one of the prop guys on set in this movie. He's a carpenter in the Lethal Weapon, I think in Lethal Weapon 2, if I'm not mistaken. Damon Hines, who plays Nick Murtaugh in the Lethal Weapon films, Danny Glover's son, is, I believe he's one of Grace's kids. Not Calvin. She has an older boy. I believe that's him. And then we didn't mention Anne Ramsey, who has a cameo as one of the homeless people. And she was Ma Fratelli in the Goonies.
That's right, yeah.
So a lot of them pop up in little bit parts. But like I said, they've all been in various Richard Donner movies over the years. Steve Cahan definitely is in pretty much every single Richard Donner film. So that was a cool piece of trivia I picked up while doing the research, that he's actually Donner's cousin. I was wondering why he was always in those movies. Because this was Bill Murray's big movie coming back from Ghostbusters, and because that film was so popular, they do make a reference to it in the marketing, saying that he's back among the ghosts. On the poster is Murray, looking kind of crazy. He's even got some crazy hair. And then he's lighting a cigar. Or he's got the cigar, and there's like a skeleton hand
lighting it
with a match. As you mentioned in the top of the show, it opens up number 1 at the box office. It opens up on that Thanksgiving weekend, where to anyone unfamiliar with it, Thanksgiving weekend starts on the Wednesday and then carries through the 5-day. Nothing is ever released on Thanksgiving or that Friday. It always is the Wednesday.
Like this year was House of Gucci, right?
Yeah. Which is, I never understood, because Christmas is a little bit different, but movies open up on Christmas, whatever day Christmas is. If it's, a random Saturday, like it is this year, new movies will open on Christmas. And sometimes the week of Christmas is funny, because there are Wednesday openings, there are Friday openings, and then there are Christmas openings. So I always wondered why Thanksgiving they were always beholden to that Wednesday, and nothing ever came out that Friday.
Maybe it's the tradition of staying home, whereas people tend to go to the movies for Christmas more, because nothing else is open.
Yeah. But it opens up, number 1, makes 18.6 mil in its opening weekend. Pretty good money. I know that seems like peanuts nowadays when movies can make 200 plus on their opening weekend, but 18.6 in 1988, that's a good opening. And then opening up like that, I think it's the 4th highest opening movie, or 4th highest. Yeah, it's the 4th highest opening of that year. They did test screenings of it, I believe, in the summer. Yeah. And it got like a 93% audience rating, but when it gets released, it's kind of gets this mixed reaction. Got some bad quotes from critics, not quotes, but some critics that did not like the film.
I know there was one that's I don't know who, their name escapes me, but they said this is about as fun as being mugged. Or something.
Who said that? I didn't come across that one. I know that Roger Ebert said it was the worst adaptation of A Christmas Carol he'd ever seen.
Really?
Yeah, and he said it was one of the most unsettling and disquieting films to come along in a long time. He said the film focused more on the pain and anger than it does the comedy. And then he wrote that Murray looked unhappy during it, whether or not he knew the stuff that was going on behind the scenes. I know that Murray had talked to him later on, and that's where Murray had said that, he and Donner were every minute of every day disagreeing. And Ebert also calls Murray out for the ad-libbing. Saying that especially that ending monologue, that speech that he gives, kind of lacks the heart and just goes on and on and on. But other newspapers and critics said that, it's only funny when Murray's on screen. They like it, but it's kind of a mess. They didn't think it was going to kind of join this list of Christmas favorites. I think they were wrong in hindsight because it seems to have gained that kind of cult following. They just kind of said that, hey, we like how the film starts, but then it kind of, the laughs are few and far between after that. Bill Murray's so good at playing that sleaze that they really just didn't buy it, like when he has the turnaround in the end.
Mm.
But then, some other papers had said that, the film is uproarious. It's good satire of the entertainment industry. They loved Murray's kind of deadpan, sinister performance. They said that, contrary to what Ebert thought, and the other critics, said that he had such nuttiness and charm, even when he was like that, really playing up Frank Cross's worst attributes, that they could buy his redemption. But like I said, the 69, that's what it was, 69% on Rotten, seems probably fair.
Not too low and it's not really high.
Yeah. Like I said, this is a film that I genuinely love.
Mm-hmm.
And that stems from a lot that it's one of the few movies that I constantly rewatched, especially at Christmas time when I was younger. And still will try to find time to watch it around this time of year. Just watched it a couple years ago. I didn't watch it last year, but just about 2 years ago was the last time I had seen it at Christmas time. So, you mentioned O'Donoghue's quote at the top of the show in your write-up. You want the full quote?
Yeah.
I have the full quote here. Very critical. He disavows it, like you said. This is what he says, and I quote, "We wrote a fucking masterpiece. We wrote It Happened One Night. We wrote a story that could make you laugh and cry. You would have wanted to share it with your grandchildren every fucking Christmas for the next 100 years. The finished film was a piece of unadulterated, unmitigated shit." So, not kind, hated the movie until his dying day. I disagree with him on that, but I'm not the writer, so maybe he has a valid argument. But I think that quote's pretty fucking savage. I wonder if they were ever willing to work with Bill Murray again. I mean, we established that they knew each other from Saturday Night Live, from the early Saturday Night Live years, and that they wanted to work with him on the project, but given his penchant for the ad-libbing, I wonder if they were willing to work with Murray again after this. But that's always been his reputation.
Yeah.
Kind of a prickly guy who likes to improvise, but is a good comedic actor and damn fine dramatic actor these days when he pops up in a film. In the end, it grosses $60.3 million in the US and then, like you said, 100 worldwide. It's the 13th highest grossing film in 1988. It does pretty well. And 60 seems like peanuts these days, but this is 1988. Even gets nominated for Academy Award for Best Makeup.
Mm-hmm.
Loses to Beetlejuice, which has a much better Danny Elfman score.
That's true.
But the parts of the Elfman score that are in this movie are good. I did like it. It has gained this reputation as being a cult classic. I think Entertainment Weekly hailed it as a classic, saying that it was an underrated, that's both crude and sentimental, resonant and ludicrous, and said it's the perfect film for those who might be bitter or reluctant to celebrate the holiday. That's a quote from Entertainment Weekly. And then Den of Geek said that it was the finest Christmas movie of all time, and that only Bad Santa manages to capture the bitterness and vitriol that permeates at least the majority of Scrooged. So that's a pretty bold statement.